Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 18 of the WhotKnot podcast. My name is Kathy. I am a disabled maker after a car accident in 2007, but anybody that's been watching my podcast knows that I do not let that stop me from continuing my crafting journey. Alright, so all my links to my socials are in the box down below as usual. I won't go through them, that's boring. If you want to find me, you will. Alright, now I want to start off with a thank you for the beginning. And I want to thank Alison off Instagram because yesterday I had a bit of a crisis. Yeah, that's right, crisis. I was having a bit of FOMO, yep. Everybody is knitting the WhotKnot, and I decided I wouldn't do it, and I'll tell you why in a minute. And then I saw the Clue one, and I watched a few podcasts and people were talking about it, so I quickly went and bought the pattern. And yesterday morning I spent literally the whole morning going through my stash working out some colour combinations. And then I noticed Alison last week mentioned that she was going to do it. And so I messaged Alison and I said to her, how are you going with your knit, your Stephen West knit? And she said she wasn't 100% sure about it. And I said to her that I'd knit the Texture Time shawl a couple of years ago. And look, many of Stephen's patterns are beautiful. I think right if you get the colour combination right, stunning. I was not happy with the Texture Time shawl once I'd finished it. And I've got my shawl here. And one of these days I'll be frogging it because the yarn is beautiful. I just don't like the shawl. I don't like the shape of it. I don't like the look of it. Yep, so this was my shawl. And this was knit out of the pineapple yarns. It's got this lovely apricot-y section. And this bit took forever to knit because, you know, you're doing it on both wings, of course. This pink yarn is super soft and lovely. I liked the brown and the pink combination in the centre there. If I'd known how it was going to look, I would have done the peach in this section and then finished off with this section at the end, so that sort of the pinky colours were kind of together. Look, the construction of it was fun. I enjoyed knitting it. I learnt how to do the Latvian braids, the brioche. I learnt a lot while I was making this shawl, but I just, yeah, don't love it. I don't. The shape is kind of hard to wear. Yeah, so I don't know. So I made the decision, no, I wouldn't do the KAL. I would wait until it was finished and then I would do it. So after speaking to Alison back and forth yesterday at length, yeah, I made the decision that I'm going to hold off on that until it's done and I can see the whole thing. I'm sorry, I'm a bit out of breath today. I don't know why, the air must be a bit thicker. So, yeah, I'm a little bit out of breath, so just disregard that. Unless I start hyper disreflexing on the floor, then don't disregard it. No, I won't do that. Yeah, so I've got my colours selected out for the shawl. I have actually just purchased, because this was one of the colours that I selected, which is a Knit Picks colour, which is really nice. I was thinking these were the colours that I'd picked out. So I had that colour combination I was thinking about going with, but you need 2 skeins of the main colour, and I've only got 1 skein of this. So I contacted my friend Susan from ashandevedesigns because she's just done a big Buffy the Dragon, a Buffy inspired dye colourway selection, and I noticed that she had something very similar to this called Faith. So I've grabbed 2 skeins of that off her. So if I like the finished product, I'm thinking about doing a knit along with whoever's interested at that point. And after chatting to Alison, I'm going to call the knit along. Now I've seen it, I'll knit it. So that's a long-winded explanation of why I am not at this point doing the West Knits knit along, although I am finding it very interesting and tempting. Anyway, that's that. Let's get on to finished objects. Now, what have I got? I've got my watercolour, which was this bad boy. And I normally do my paintings on this size. This was the one from last week. So this painting is bigger. And the reason that I've done that is it was sort of a semi-commission. So I thought the person that was receiving this would prefer it to be on a larger canvas. Hope that's showing up okay there. The sun's kind of in and out today. I've put the blind down a little bit to try and help with the lighting. But yeah, so he was very happy with it, and this guy is sold. So that's finished this week. That's a done deal. That one. I finished my mint tea socks. So I think I mentioned in one of the previous podcasts that they were super duper long, and I think I'd knit an extra repeat. And when I knit the second one, I realised I had knit an extra repeat. So these are, say, super duper long socks. But that's alright, because Mill has been asking me for quite some time now to knit her a pair of knee-high socks. And I think these will go close. I've only got to weave in, I've just, I wash them and I let them dry out a little bit. Once they're sort of touch dry, I put them on the sock blockers to finish them off. And when I take them off the sock blockers, I will weave those tiny little ends in. But they are the mint tea socks, and I can tell you when I was knitting the second one, I was sweating on it a bit because I'd knit the extra repeat. Of course, I had to do it in the second one, and I was worried I was going to run out of yarn. And this was all I had left. Tiny, tiny little bit. Very satisfying to be left with just a tiny little bit of yarn like that. So that'll be going in my jar. The yarn that I used was Fruitful Fusions, and I've got her band here. I bought this off Etsy a while ago. So it's Fruitful Fusion dyes, and I'll link her in the show notes, and the colour was Verbena. So I'll be sticking that in my little scrapbook journal, and I'll be packing these off along with my next finished object to my lovely daughter Mill, Mandy slash I call her Mill. That's M-I-L-L, not M-A-L-L, Mill. And the reason that I call her Mill is because we used to have the books, which I think a lot of people did, called Millie Molly Mandy, and she used to love them, and I just started calling her Millie when she was little, and then that got shortened to Mill, and I think it's been Mill since she was about 3 years old. So Mill will be getting these socks, which I will be putting in the mail this week. I love sending stuff off in the mail because it just clears something else out of my room here. So yes, that's a good thing. And now a couple of weeks ago I made her a crochet, project bag for her birthday in August, and there was some fabric left over, and I sent it to her, and she promptly sent it back to me because she wanted a crochet hook case, which I've now made. So she loves Homer Simpson, so I made this little crochet case. She gave me the measurements of her crochet hooks, and it's got a slot for all her crochet hooks in there, 10 slots with 1 extra, and I had a little pair of scissors, so I told her I would stick the scissors in there for her. So she's got the 10 spots, and then because I'm going crazy with my stamps at the moment, I stamped it as well. So that is also a finished object, and that will be going in the mail. Oh, just for the record, that little girl there is a needle minder. So it's just a magnet magnetised onto the back with that little flower there. And she can just take that off if she wants to, or she can put her darning needles or whatever on that. So, yep, that's all finished, and that's going with the socks, and that'll be going in the post this week. Alright, now the final finished object I've got here is, I spoke to you guys about it last fortnight, and that is my rocks. Actually, I spoke to you about it 2 episodes ago, so if you want to know why I was painting those, have a look at that episode. But I had this kit and I've had it for a while. I'm pretty sure I bought this off the Angus and Robertson's book site, and I think I paid about $12 for it. So it's a metallic rock painting kit. It came, well, it was supposed to come with everything. When I opened up my packet, it did not have the instruction book. So it comes with 4 metallic paints, a black base paint, a fine paintbrush, a dotting tool, 4 large river rocks, I wouldn't call them large, and a 21-page book. Now the book was missing out of my kit, but that's alright. I've got YouTube, and as we all know, YouTube makes us an expert on everything. So I had a look at a couple of YouTube tutorials, and I'll link the one that I went with down below. And this was the first one that I painted. Get that in frame there. And I used a combination of the paintbrush, and the lady on the YouTube talked about using a cotton bud, and the kit came with a stick. I got that here. I thought I stuck it in here somewhere. Maybe not. I might have actually thrown it away because it got pretty messy in the end and it was just a stick. But I did that one, and on the back I've written, "Have a nice day, 2020." Because what is going to happen with these rocks is on the weekend, my husband is going to take the dog for a walk, and he's going to leave these around his walking track on people's letterboxes for them to find as little cheer me up for the day. So after I painted that one, I did another. I will say that the paints that came in the kit were very cool toned. So I made that one. That looks pretty nice. I was happy with how that turned out. and on the back I just wrote Smile 2020. So hopefully that does make somebody smile. And then I did a white based one. So that's white based and just with the purples and the golds and the yellows. And I didn't have any Estopol to varnish them, but I did have clear nail polish. So I've just put clear nail polish on the top of those to seal them up. And then this one, which I haven't written anything on the back of that one, I will do though before he takes it out. So that's like a rainbow inspired one. Just using all dots. It's very simple. It'd be great for kids. I think that is a children's kit. As I said in my last podcast, I'm all about buying a kit for kids. And then I thought I would do like some flowers. So I painted that one up. And on the back of that, I wrote, Think Happy Thoughts. So there was that. What did I... Oh, on the back of that one. That's the dog barking. Posty's coming, I think. Trust the journey. So, yep, they'll be going out. Also another thing out of my craft room. Very good. So they'll be heading out and about into the world this weekend. So, that was all my finished objects. Now, for my whips, I have got half a sleeve to go on my Zweig, which I gotta tell you, I'm pretty happy about. I am going to finish in time for the end of the KAL. I've noticed that quite a few of the people that have joined in to the knit along with Lindsay and I have finished. I don't know how Lindsay's going on hers. I know she's very busy with her designs at the moment. And of course there's no pressure to finish. You don't have to finish. Alright, I think the posties moved along and everybody settled down. So, as I was saying, the knit along with Lindsay for the Time to Zweig finishes at the end of October. So there's some great prizes to be won there, and yeah, so that'll be coming to an end, which as I said, and I know a couple of the other ladies are as well, kind of glad, because that's an epic knit, 4-ply jumper. It's a big knit, and I'm glad I've done it. I am really looking forward to the finished item. I haven't bought it to show you because I will have it finished on the next episode, and we'll talk about it a bit more in depth then. So as not to be too repetitive. But the other thing that I have been really enjoying knitting on is my Ashbrook shawl by Tamy Gore, and I'm making great progress on that. I've left the little stitch marker on that to show you where I was up to the last time. So I'd got to this point last time, so I've done that. The shawl is divided into sections, and I'm up to section 8, which is another garter section. And after the garter section is the lace section, and that's the bit I'm really looking forward to. But I'm really happy with the colours. I'm happy with how it's knitting up. The only thing that I've done, which I'm kicking myself now, but I'm not going back. It's too late. And once I block it out, I don't think you'll notice. But I love using these. These are like the cubic needles. I just find them easier to grip. So it's a cubic needle. It's not actually round, it's a square. And when I'm knitting the socks and that, I really like knitting with the bamboo. So just out of curiosity's sake, these are knitted on just double check, this shawl is knitted on a 4mm. I ordered some higher bamboo 4mm 100cm length cable, and thought, oh, I'll try and knit it with that. So when I got to the end of this section here, I was heading into this plain pink garter section, and I swapped over to those needles and my tension changed. And I don't think it's really obvious, and I think, you know, once you've blocked it out and everything, but it does seem to have a little bit of bagginess to it. So my tension is looser with the bamboo needles than it is with the metal ones. But yeah, I'm definitely not going to lose sleep over it. So yep, continuing to work away on that guy. And I'm really enjoying that. That's the thing I want to be knitting on. The other thing that I knit, and this kind of is a little bit with my For Me From Me section, but I'll just show it to you quickly now, is Bendigo Wool Mill had like a short run on some, now what did I do with my, so this is a 40% merino, 20% alpaca, and 40% acrylic. So it's a beautiful pale pink colour. It's fluffy and soft. It's 8-ply, and they were running a special where you got 2 balls in one pack at 75 grams a ball. So there's 150 grams there for $12. So I have bought enough to make a jumper. So I need a little swatch. I never swatch, but I wasn't quite sure how, and I've even washed and blocked it. Look at me go. So it knits up beautifully. You can see the tension on that is just really, really nice. And it's a little bit, it was a bit stiff before I washed it. And once I washed it, it sort of softened up, and I don't think it's going to have super drapiness, but it's definitely going to sit nicely. And yeah, so knit a swatch. Yep. So that's that, and I won't talk about those again, but I was going to talk about those in the For Me From Me, but that's not how it worked out. Now, I mentioned last fortnight that I was having a visitor to come and see me, and it was my sister, and she bought a few bits for me, which I will show in the For Me From Me section. But we were talking about one thing and another, and she is what I would classify as a master crocheter. She has been crocheting for years, all sorts of things, and she was talking about a shawl that she'd crocheted, and I asked her if I could show it on the podcast. So she dropped it in, and I've got it here. So, as you guys know, I have done a little bit of crochet, but I am no crocheter. But she does beautiful work, and she's given me all the details. So this is the Maple Leaf Crochet Shawl by Natalie at Elf Moda. I'll link it. She's on Ravelry. I will link her. It's a free pattern, and I will link it in the show notes if you are a crocheter and you fancy crocheting this. But yep, my sister made this, and what she told me about it was that she used a patons Summer Swirl, not for this pink section, but from here down. And she did have to unravel and rejoin and everything to get the colours to flow, because it took more than one ball. Down the bottom there, you can see that she's joined in, unravelled and joined in the red so as to fade back to that lighter red. The other information that I have for you guys on this is that she said she normally follows the written instructions in a pattern, but they were quite difficult to understand even for an advanced crocheter. but if you use them in conjunction with the chart, it makes sense. So her recommendation was that if any of you guys decide to have a go at making this, try and use the instructions and the charts to coincide with each other. But she said the way it is constructed is it's crocheted in one piece, and then you pick up for these points on the edge and crochet them out separately. But it looks beautiful. The colour choice is amazing. Like, I think it's very appropriate. And as I said, she used the Patons Summer Swirl. And I'll put a picture of what that looks like here. I had a look to find out what colour she used so I could let you guys know. But I couldn't work out from the colours that are available now which one she had used. So maybe this is a colour that's not available anymore. But if you are interested in this exact colour, let me know and I will find out from her what it is. But yeah, beautiful, absolutely beautiful colours. I'll just show you up close because the yarn is actually variegated up close. You can see the colours sort of fade into each other. It's really nice. So I thought I would show that to you since I don't show too much crochet, and that's something a bit different. Okay, I hope this looks alright. The colour's probably a little bit different because I got to the end of the podcast. I was chatting with my husband and I realised I'd forgotten to say a couple of things and show you a couple of things. So the thing I forgot to say was that in episode 20 I'm doing a Q&A section. So if there's anything that you would like to ask, I have got about 4 or 5 questions so far written down in my book that people have sent to me. So if there's any other questions that you can think of or that you would like answered in episode 20, get them to me one way or another, whether it's here in the messages down below or DM me on Instagram or whatever. Yeah, so send your questions along. As I said last week, just a regular person, but there might be something that you are curious about, so hit me up. But also too, I made a couple of bags yesterday, diligently finished them this morning so that I could show them on the podcast, and then forgot to show them. So these are going into the shop. I've got the lovely little llama bag with the teal, and I've done a little bit of tested out my embroidery stitch on my sewing machine there along the bottom and was quite happy with that. It's just got the single handle, the pulls at the top, beautiful fabric inside that I picked up in my travels. Hopefully you can see that. It does have a pocket in there and I have stamped the pocket. I think that it'll be a bit tricky unless I just turn it inside out to show you the stamp because it's a really cute one. There we go, I'll just turn it inside out quickly. Hopefully you can see that little stamp on the inside pocket there. So have a nice day. So yep, that guy will be going into the shop and I'll be doing another one of those, but I haven't quite finished it, so there'll be 2 of those going into the shop with that llama fabric. And then I made a big guy with the handles. This is made out of like a weatherproof canvas, and I've put a little embellishment on there, which is the little birdie. Hold it up straight. There we go. And yep, it's got the drawstring at the top there with the handles, as I said. Beautiful fabric inside with the sunny flowers. a little key fob to put your stitch markers or car keys so they don't fall into the bottom of the bag. And I've also put a pocket in it with a little bit of vintage lace along the top of the pocket. So that pocket's got two sections in it. There. Yeah. So that's a good size bag. I think it was 15 across and 20 down or something, 20 inches. I don't really follow a pattern anymore. I just look at the fabric and try and get the most and the best spot to show all the print, or to, like on this one, I really wanted to get that yellow flower in on the front there, so I just cut them out with willy-nilly. Now the other thing is I dyed up some yarn last week. I'd sold out of the yarn babies in the shop, and I did put some into the shop and they've nearly all sold, so I've only got 3 left. So there is some decay, but these are the 4-ply. So I've got this guy. Now these are 200 grams, so just to give you an idea on the size difference, there's a 100-gram one and this one's 200 gram. It has 720 meters on it, and that one's got all those delicious colors on it. So that would be great knit up into a shawl. Or for 720 meters you could almost knit a whole short sleeve, like you could knit a short sleeve Love Notes ranunculus, and when I say short sleeve you'd probably get, 3/4. So one of the other colours I've got is this really pale pink leading into lavender with the grey, and look at those speckles. So that one, and the bluey. I tried to dye a cross section. Obviously everybody's drawn to their own colours. I like kind of the pinks and even the warm colours. I don't seem to be doing the blues and the greens is not a natural thing for me, but other people like it, so I try and do a cross section. And the other ones that I've got going in, well, they're already in the shop. Some people missed out last time I did them. So these are the 90% merino, 10% linen yarns. And these are beautiful. They really are. They look nice. I'm interested to see how it wears because I'm knitting my Zweig out of it to see if it pills or anything. I mean, if it does, I don't really care about that because you can easily de-pill. But it's beautiful yarn. It's really, really beautiful. And I will be knitting something else in it. So I've got this one, this greyish colour with, it's actually almost a lavender grey with the speckles. I have got this bad boy, so it's a sort of a pinky magenta with the purple. There's a little bit of green and all sorts of colours in there, some red. So that one, there's 3 each of these ones, and this one, which I was actually tempted to, after saying I'm not really drawn to blue, this is the one I was tempted to keep and knit something out of it. So this is a lovely sky, what I would call a skyish blue, or a forget-me-not blue with the speckles. And it's got a tiny, tiny little bit of purple speckles in it as well. So they're the 3. There are a couple of other colours in the shop as well in the merino linen, but I just thought I'd show you those ones. But that's the shop news. So as I said, I am recording this after the podcast and I'm hoping to slot it in somewhere. So we'll see how we go. Now, moving on to the Etsy seller this week. And it's a good one. It's a good one, kids. It is the, where is her card? I had it here a minute ago. Her card is very small so that I could show, oh, there it is, tiny. So this is the Rustic Mud Ceramics, and that's what she is on Etsy, and her name's Lisa. And what does it say on the back there? She's got all her socials on the back, so I will make sure to link all that in the show notes. And her slogan says organic, raw, natural, rustic and tactile. And I can tell you that her stuff is beautiful. So I have bought 2 sets. It all came beautifully packaged. So they come in, she has all different things, but I've bought these like for Christmas decorations. Just take my glasses off. So I've bought these little birds, and she's got some lovely rust coloured ones in the shop at the moment. So hopefully they're all showing up nicely, because you guys know I love me a little bird. But they are nice to touch because the back of it feels rough, the front is smooth, and then she's got that little decorated edge on the wing. Sorry about the jingling, with the flowers and everything. So it's really pretty. And on her Etsy store, it said that they're designed to bring joy to your home, and the pieces are designed to be quite tactile, which they are. Now, as I said, I bought 2 sets, so I got that one. And I got this set as well, and I don't know if you noticed, but on the top there, they've got a little bead on the top of the string. And I bought a set of 3 of these ones because I have a lot of this this colour in my house, and I thought they would look nice in my home. So there's 3 of those, which all have the same design on them. So I've got 3 of those, and when I opened the parcel, she had included a little free gift, and this is really nice. And it's a little Christmas tree with a bit of a print on the side of it, and on the back of it, it is fully embossed with all, I hope that's showing up, with all the bits and pieces on the back of it. And I am going to be putting this in my Christmas giveaway pile that I'm gathering together. I've kept the little bit of bubble wrap, so I'm going to wrap it back up nice and safely, and somebody else will be enjoying that one. So even though I do love it, you can only have so much stuff, right? So there's that. So that's my Etsy seller, and I'll just give you all the details on her. As I said, she is Mud Ceramics. Lisa, she lives in East Melbourne in Victoria. She's got 65 sales. For each set of 3, I paid $27, and it was free postage. So I thought that was quite good. It's a nice little present if you're not sure what to buy someone. I think it's a good thing. She has more masculine designs as well if you're trying to choose something for a man. As I said, like after I purchased these, she put some in the shop that have got a lovely bronzy, rusty colour on the body there, which I thought they were also quite nice. I was tempted to go back and buy them, but I restrained myself. I've been pretty good this week, guys. The For Me From Me section is not big. It's not big, so I've been pretty good. So I think that's everything there. Yep. Now, so I suppose at this point we are going to move into the For Me From Me section. So if you just came to see all the crafty goodness, that's what I got going on. And you'll be interested to see next week I'll have a new cast on, or 2 maybe. So now that I've kind of got the socks, and the Zweig will be off the needles by the end of the weekend, or maybe even the end of this week, and I'm kind of powering through that shawl, so I'm expecting that to be not far off finished as well. I don't think it'll be finished by the next episode, but the one after. So there's going to be some new cast-ons, and I'm excited about that. So pop in next fortnight to see what those new cast-ons will be. But thanks so much for popping in to see me, and I will look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. But for the rest of us, let's see what I've been buying. Alright, now in terms of buying, I've actually been given a couple of things in the last 2 weeks, some gifts, so I will talk about those first. Now, as I said, my sister popped in, and she used to live across the road from me when we lived in a farm, and we were both quite into all the crafty things. She works full time now, so doesn't get as much time for that sort of thing, and she was having a bit of a clean out, and she came across a couple of these lovely tins that she had in her stash, and she thought I might like them. So she bought them on over last fortnight or last week, and that was that one tin that she bought me. I'll show you what's inside them in a minute. And she brought me this tin as well. Look at that. Such a nice tin. And it's got like the old-fashioned bickies on the back there. So originally that's what was in the tin. A bit of fun. So in this little Cadbury tin, now I remember I used to be a member of this, but I don't know what happened to my buttons, but she's kept all hers. And we were both in the Nikki Tervo Designs Handmade Club, and each month you used to get a little set of buttons like these, and I don't know whether she still does them. I went and had a look on her website, and she still sells the buttons, but I don't know whether she still does the monthly kits. I couldn't find anything on the website about it. Whoops. But what you used to get was you'd get a little pattern like this, and that's what my sister has put in the bigger tin. So I don't know if you can see that pattern, but it's a little quilted project, and it's embellished with buttons. So what you used to get was you used to get the kit, and then you used to get like the matching buttons to go with it. I don't know if this is the one that goes with this kit, but you'd get the matching buttons. So I do recognise, like when I went through this, so there's the little, look at that cutie, little gingerbread kisses, and the little gingerbread buttons are in the kit. Let me just see if I can quickly find the gingerbread men. I did have, oh yes, there they are. So then if you make that, and then you would get the buttons that go with the kit, and you could sew them all together. So yeah, there's quite a few different patterns in there. So I am going to have a go at making a few of those at some point. What I was thinking is I've got a few ideas of things that I'm doing this year. I probably won't do them this year, but I thought as of the 1st of January, each month I would try and make one of these with the buttons, and if the matching buttons aren't in the tin, I will substitute with something else. But it's full of nice things. Rose, daisy, there's a whole packet there with all the flower names on it, and there's little bees and a birdhouse, all sorts of things. Yep, so that's my plan. As you can see, this tin is full of patterns, and yeah, so that's what I'm thinking about doing with those. I'm going to go through them, see if I can match the buttons with the patterns, and next year I will work my way through making a design out of the tin and using the corresponding buttons. So that'll be a bit of fun. And then last Sunday I had a sort of an unexpected trip that I had to go over to Chermside, which is sort of it's over an hour's drive for us. But one of my lovely subscribers on Instagram, and I know she watches the podcast when she gets time, and that's Julia. She lives over that neck of the woods, and she said she was going to Spotlight, and I said to her, well, I'm heading to that neck of the woods as well. So we met up for an impromptu cup of coffee, and what a lovely lady you are, Julia. What a lovely hour we spent chatting about this, that and the other. I wish I'd had a bit more time, but I had to get to an appointment, and I'm hoping that we could do that again at some point. But when I was over there and I caught up with her, she bought me a couple of magazines. So the Molly makes magazines, and I've already been through this one and had a good look at it, and I'm going to cut some things out of that one. And she gave me this one also, which has got the little kit there. I don't think it's actually a kit. I think that it's actually just some bunny ribbon. Let's see. Yeah. So I will definitely use that. But I'll put that in my stash. So I'm going to go through those. So that'll be nice. That's a very nice little thoughtful gift to bring along. So thanks, Julia, and lovely to see you. And the other thing is, it's my wedding anniversary this year, and this week. So my husband and I have been married for 30 years. Yep. 30 years this week. I do not know where the time has gone. Yeah. Anyway, so when we were out and about, he bought me a little... I said, don't worry about it. I'm not really... Look, I buy that many presents for myself. I don't need other people to buy me presents. Just saying. But I said to him, don't worry about it. And he always buys me jewellery, but I don't really wear a lot of jewellery. And anyway, we walked past a candle shop, and he said, shall I buy you a candle? And I'm like, well, yeah, I quite like a candle. So I think the glare's a bit much, but this is Peach Bellini. And it's made by Water Tree in London in Australia, but it's a beautiful candle. I'll show you the candle itself. Smells absolutely beautiful, lovely, in a lovely peachy apricot-y coloured container with its tassel. So yep, thanks mister. Good present call on the candle there. And he also saw this when he was checking out, and he had to get it for me because I'm all about a little Pomeranian puppy, because I've got one of those. So he got me this key ring, which I think I'll probably put on one of my project bags. So yeah, so I got those two. And I have bought myself some 2mm double pointed needles. Bought 2 packets of those. So I've got those because I want to try and knit the foot part of Mill's socks in a 2mm. Somebody recommended that, so I'm going to try that. I bought some lovely fabric from Spotlight because it's on special. So this is a canvas. And as I said, I've got a lot of this sort of tealy colour in my home, and I've got some cushions on the lounge suite that have seen better days because the dog sits on them all the time. So I'm going to take the inserts out and measure them up, and I'm going to make some new cushions for the couch out of this lovely fabric. So, yep, I think it's really pretty. I'll show you the back bit there. Really nice. So, yep, that's on the agenda. And the last thing that I've got to show you is, you know, I love Lulu yarns. I feel like it used to be so much easier to get my hands on their yarn than it is these days. You've got to play fastest finger first, and she was, I've missed out on the last few, which, look, let's face it, that ain't going to kill me because I have got quite a few of their yarns. But on the last update, she showed a couple that really grabbed my fancy. So I set my alarm because I was sick and tired of missing out. And as soon as she updated, I was bang, 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 and I nabbed them. So these are the two that I got this time. Super beautiful. If you want to see them knit up, she's got them on her Instagram, but just lovely. They do a great job. There's not too many people in Australia that do the indie dyed self-striping yarn. So I'm glad that they do it, and not only do they do it, but they do a great job on it. And I'm very happy to have nabbed these two. So yeah, that was my indulgence, and that's it, guys. Yep, I've been good, haven't I? Because really the only thing that I bought there was the fabric, the yarn, and the double pointed needles this week. So I feel like I've done pretty well. But as I said earlier, I've got some ideas for some new cast-ons. I've been swatching, so next fortnight I will tell you all about what I've cast on. I did do a little bit of a search on Ravelry yesterday, and what I was going to cast on has been sort of pushed down a little bit for something that I saw recently that's just come onto Ravelry. But as I say, I haven't decided, and I will let you guys know in 2 weeks. But I think that's everything. I think I'm done. Yep. I hope you're all well. I am so happy that the warmer weather is starting to come along. I've been in the pool. I've been doing a bit of physio to loosen up this old body, and I'm feeling much better. So I do like a bit of sunshine and vitamin D. And yeah, it's windy today, but once I've wrapped up here, I am going to be hopping in the pool this afternoon. So that's going to be fun. All right, guys, great to catch up with you all again. I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.